Video tutorial number 5, Preparing the Canvas, Part 1, Sizing Your Canvas and Gesso. I feel at this point that we are ready to start painting. We know about reflected light, we know about negative space, we know about perspective and foreground and background, we know about horizon line and table line, and we know about the abstract ideas about bringing the viewer in and how the viewer is going to experience your art. All my paintings come from drawings, come from my own drawings, my own loose pen sketches that I showed you before. So for this purpose, I have chosen a small canvas, and I am going to do a painting of just this one little flower that in another painting of mine got cut off, and so I thought that it would be just a nice image to paint. I like to paint on a hard surface rather than painting on an already stretched canvas, because I feel like this is like driving a stick shift, whereas this is driving an automatic. And I write down the size on the side, so I'm always aware of that, and when the painting gets painted on and you want to get your stretcher bars, you have it marked down what size it's going to be. So you usually mark off in the different regions, the 18 and 14, and you do that by using a tape measure. It's totally easy. You just measure out 18 inches by 14 inches. And then to make it a perfect rectangle, you take your level, which is an architect's tool, and it has air bubbles for horizontal and vertical. So we put it up to the line that we marked down at 18 inches, and we wait till the bubble gets smack in the middle, and then we start our line. We keep going across, and the most important part is the side, because this is going to stick out beyond your paper, so you want to make a nice dark mark there. And there you have your rectangle ready to prime. So now we're going to start to prepare the canvas for paint. Canvas is not ready to have paint on it until it has a primer, and the primer that you use is gesso. There are different gradations of gesso. This happens to be a studio grade of gesso. It's just fine. What you do is you take a brush, a bigger brush, not like the brush that you're going to use for painting, and you dip it into the gesso. Every stroke is going to overlap onto the stroke that you already created so that you make it seamless. Now you're going to the second row. We're going to start off where we came from, and now we're going to go the other direction, and so on, just until you finish the entire canvas and it's all coated with one coat in one direction, and I chose vertical to start. Once you have put down your entire first layer of gesso, you're going to wait for it to dry, and you can feel it to make sure that it's completely dry. It's water-based, so it shouldn't take too long to dry, but it all depends on how thickly you put on the gesso and how humid it is in the space that you're working in. And what you're going to do is you're going to sand it. So you're going to take a piece of sandpaper that is fine sandpaper, and you're going to, in a circular motion, sand this first layer of gesso. I like to take my hand and feel over where I just sanded to make sure that it's nice and smooth, and you're going to sand the entire piece. Once it's completely smooth and sanded, you're going to put on your next layer of gesso. Your next layer of gesso is going to be put on in the opposite direction from what you originally did. Since we put it on vertically, now we're going to put it on horizontally, so you're creating a weave. Now you have your 2 layers of gesso in 2 different directions, and it's dry. So what you're going to do is, once again, you're going to sand. Once you have completed putting down the 2 layers of gesso and let it dry and sanded it, you are ready to start painting.